Until you've owned a Patek Philippe, nothing else matters. Folks, this is a popular belief amongst collectors and other members of the community for obvious reasons. Patek Philippe provides excellence, speaks confidence, and has exceptional charm. But all things watchmaking at its finest asides, is buying a Patek Philippe worth it? Will it make for a good investment, or should you start setting your eyes on something else? Well, yes and no, and you might think so too. Experts agree that Patek Philippe is the most prestigious watchmaker in the world. Auction records for their watches are consistently set at a significantly higher rate than those of their competitors, demonstrating the widespread acclaim in which they are held. But before we conclude if it is a good investment or not, the question we'd like to first answer is why. Why is a Patek Philippe so intriguing? First, and rather obvious, they have the best craftsmanship. Patek Philippe watches are understated. Rather, their prices reflect the fact that they contain meticulously studied designs that are built to remain despite capricious fluctuations in style, such as the Bauhaus-inspired Calatrava and the Art Deco Gondolo. Depending on the model, as many as 252 individual parts must be assembled by hand to complete each watch. Yes, you heard that right, 252. This ensures that the highest standards are maintained throughout the whole assembly process, and that even the parts that are not directly visible to the wearer, such as the movements, are of the greatest quality. Secondly, they are exclusive. Now, who doesn't like exclusivity? There have reportedly been fewer than 1 million Patek Philippe timepieces produced since the company's founding in 1839. That's less than the annual output of some extremely high-end Swiss manufacturers. To buttress our first point, let's talk about manufacturing a little bit more. Patek manufacturing is so meticulous that even the simplest watches take 9 months to create, and its most complex timepieces take more than 2 years. At the same time, interest is increasing all across the world. Some Patek Philippe watches are so rare that prospective buyers are required to go through an application process to prove they are serious collectors. Think about it like some sort of worthwhile test. Thirdly, they are futuristic with long-term goals. Now, while Patek Philippe has a rich history, the brand is not stuck in the past. The company places a premium on preserving the heritage of watchmaking and has made significant investments in the application of cutting-edge materials, technologies, and manufacturing techniques. You may already know this, but the Calatrava Pilot Travel Time, a pilot's watch released in 2015, is only one example of the brand's deliberate effort to innovate in the watch industry. Then folks, collectors love them for their archives. You see, the Patek Philippe archives have a searchable extract for each and every one of the company's timepieces. Just knowing you can track down the manufacturing and initial retail sale dates for any Patek Philippe created in 1839 is reassuring. It may be safe to assume that everyone who can afford a Patek watch has accomplished something noteworthy in their lives. The excerpts, which describe each watch's origin story in minute detail, are meant to replicate the feelings that the acquisition of a Patek Philippe awoke in the reader. However, most members of every royal family and innumerable heads of states and celebrities are in these archives, despite the fact that Patek does not list the names of past owners on its extracts. This provides fantastic material for daydreaming. Maybe the former owner was toasting the end of a war, the start of a new relationship, or the arrival of a new baby with your watch. A lot of the most stunning timepieces we encounter are auction debuts, and the emotions behind each sale are pretty much transferred from owner to owner, and that is a wonder. Of course, there's also the very DNA of Patek watches to love. Amazingly, a Patek Philippe is unrivaled in terms of the harmony between its design, art, and craftsmanship. Patek's casings, for instance, speak for themselves. They may appear simple on the surface, but rest assured that Patek does not skimp on quality. Unlike many of Patek Philippe's competitors, who commonly outsource the casting and machine finishing of their cases, Patek Philippe's cases are almost always produced in-house and are frequently forged from single pieces of gold or platinum. Patek employs historic case-making practices from the 19th century that have been kept alive by a handful of modern watchmakers. Like the timepieces themselves, the skills necessary to craft one of its cases have been handed down through the ages, and we honestly believe this is the correct course of action. Also, you might agree that sums up the elegance of a Patek Philippe. Now, we would have said that Patek's watches are a great investment as a final point, but we can't vote for or against them. In truth, there are solid investments for a few reasons, including the fact that they are a family-owned company. They have a good secondary market value, and as far as fashion goes, Patek's watches will always be timeless. But here's the thing. There are articles out there warning people to avoid investing in anything that can't be printed, which includes stocks, bonds, and currencies. What has this caused? Collectability has noticed a recent upsurge in sales of Patek Philippe antique timepieces due to all the resulting conjecture, just as we did during the epidemic. In the collecting world, many people have what is known as gold bug mentality, which means that if traditional markets fail, demand rises for alternative, safe haven assets like gold watches. Now, a gold watch is the most traditional investment there is, but there's something. In light of recent terrorist attacks, more and more people realize they need to keep their watches on their wrists rather than showing them off, even if they are more expensive than an Aston Martin. Strong results have been seen at recent auctions, particularly for rare handicrafts and intricate pocket watches. Consider the Anita Pourchette Patek Philippe that went for $478,000 at Sotheby's in the middle of September 2022. But that's not all. Auction records were once again set for the most valuable and rare items at Sotheby's Hong Kong sale on October 5, 2022. Incredibly, the all-in price for reference 5002P was $1.6 million. Now, that's an especially big number considering this example does not have its original box or certificate. However, a reference 5711/1A sold for $112,000, which was a steal just a few short months ago. That auction was further evidence that the relative value of contemporary trophy watches is steadily rising. But since the majority of the Hong Kong selection was contemporary, we've not seen any huge vintage performances recently. In fact, if you ask us which Patek Philippe watches you should buy, we wouldn't have a straight answer for you. But we'd tell you this: sell what you can easily replace in the event of seller's remorse for starters. Some collectors may advise you to sell your 5711/1As while they are still bringing triple retail. Then remember, you can always buy another watch down the road and it will most likely be a lesser price, and invest in rare and unusual pieces that you would not be able to easily find on Chrono 24 on any given day. Our point is, it may be best to buy important vintage Patek Philippe's or truly unique modern watches. To rephrase, if you see a once-in-a-lifetime deal, jump on it. But if you see a sale on a commodity watch, pass. You probably won't win. Sotheby's Hong Kong sale of watches, primarily modern, brought in a total of $18 million, proving that interest in collecting timepieces is still strong around the world. From a collectability standpoint though, we can't wait to watch how Patek Philippe's historic timepieces perform in auctions that focus on antiques rather than modern items. Everything points to a huge tally of irreplaceable components tomorrow. Now, remember, these are just our thoughts. There's no guarantee that they will be correct. But considering no one can arrive at a clear stand on whether Patek's watches are a good investment, we'd say this: Patek Philippe watches are available to and should be considered by those who are financially secure and have substantial discretionary cash. Buy a Patek for any other reason but monetary value today.